Yes.
And the reason that the J has a dot over it because they borrowed the J from the I. And so a lowercase j really is just an extension or a branch off from the I. And so you got to understand that 500 years ago when we got the J. So everything prior to that, we did not have the J in our alphabet. Are y'all getting this?
Yes.
What's the second thing we got to consider? Okay. And the J had the Y sound. Okay, I'm not going to jump ahead. The second thing that we got to consider, I'm just going to deal with this. If the I had the what sign? The J had the what sign? I had the what sign?
The Y sign.
Huh?
The Y sign.
Y sign.
Yeah.
So if I was to take the J off of Jesus and call him by how his name, so what was his name? It would be Jesus in the English. But Jesus is just a branch off of his original Hebrew name, which was Yeshua. Okay. Stay with me.
Yes.
Stay with me. Anybody heard of the Tetragrammaton? I mean, 2 people? 3 people? Y'all, what is Tetragrammaton? Y'all people heard of it. Y'all don't know. What is it? YHWH. Okay. On my paper. I got to teach y'all today so I can get these people who still stuck on the cussing off of my back. Listen to me. I told you got to have your thinking cap on today, didn't you? Okay. In the Hebrew, which is the oldest text of the Bible, Yahweh's name, talking about God, is found in the form of 4 letters known as the Tetragrammaton. No fewer than 6,823 times. Those 4 letters are YHWH, which stands for Yod-Heh Wah-Heh. In our alphabet, the 4-letter name is seen absolutely throughout the ancient Hebrew manuscripts, including the Dead Sea Scrolls and the oldest manuscripts of the Bible. So when God was talking to Moses and told him to go deliver his people, he said, "Who shall I say sent me?" This is what the Tetragrammaton is what he told him. Why? YHWH, which means, what I say it means? Yod-Heh Wah-Heh, but really it means Yahweh. So when God say, Moses, tell him Yahweh sent you. But we just get God. Now let me ask you a question. If I said, person, come down here and let me pray for you, who gonna come? Huh? Because we're all what?
A person.
Person or people. And person is a title, it's not your name. Right? So if I say person, come down here, I got $100 for you. Guess who coming? Every person. What we have done is that we have put God in the same box with every other God. Because we say, God, I love you. Well, Buddhists say, God, I love you. We have not called him by his name. God is not his name, it's a title. His name is Yahweh. Just like you have a name, he has a name. His name is Yahweh. That is his personal name. Other names that we call him, Adonai, Jehovah, well, if it was no J's in the Hebrew language, then how's Jehovah one of his names? It's not. That's what man did to substitute the real name of God. Are y'all with me? And so, God's name is Yahweh, Elohim. Anybody ever heard Elohim? Okay, because y'all scared me. Elohim means God. So when you say Yahweh is my Elohim, you're calling him by his real name and you're saying he's God, but you're distinguishing him from all other gods. Because all other gods are not Elohim, they're called gods. That's why we say false gods. The god of the Philistines, the god of the Moabites, all these different gods, when we just call him G-O-D, we put him on the same level with all the other gods. Because what differentiates or distinguishes our God from their God if we just say God? See, the Baal worshippers had a revelation. Their God was called Baal. Asheroth. Pharaoh was considered a god. Other religions took their God's name and used their God's name. They didn't call him God. They said Pharaoh is our God. Baal is our God. The church, the Jews, just replaced God's name because they didn't want to use his name. And so here we are 1,000-something years later, people still really don't know who God's name is, and people get upset when we tell them who God's name is. Go to Leviticus chapter 4, 24, Leviticus 24. I'm going to get to you, Sister Kim. Y'all know much as I love God, there's no way in the world I'm going to come in here and say something bad. But I hope your eyes opening up. Leviticus 24:16. Listen to what God said. He said, moreover, the one who blasphemes the name of the Lord shall surely be what? Put to death. All the congregation shall certainly stone him. The alien, we read that, the native. Well, so what happened? So because the people, the Jewish leaders and the scribes were so fearful that God was going to kill them if they mishandled his holy name, his sacred name, so they started putting names in place to substitute his real name because they didn't want to die. And so they started coming up with names like Adonai and Jehovah and stuff, and when they translated, because they did not want to write Yahweh, because they figured if we write it the wrong way or we disrespect his name, he's going to kill us. Wow. And so the New Testament writers picked the ball up and started doing the same thing, the ones that translated the New Testament. And we got to understand that there are two languages that the Bible was written in. The Old Testament was written in Hebrew, and the New Testament was written in Greek. Why the New Testament is Greek and not Hebrew? Because when Alexander the Great began to conquer the world and began to take territory, when he took Jerusalem captive and took over the Jewish people, then the Jewish nation became Hellenized. Hellenistic means they became a Greek-speaking people. Remember in Acts where it says that the Hellenist Jews, widows' tables wasn't getting taken care of? Why? Because they were half Greek, half Jew. And so when Alexander the Great began to put all the Greek customs and philosophies and traditions in place in Jerusalem, most of the Jews spoke Greek. Very few Jews still spoke the Hebrew language. And so therefore, by the time Jesus came on the scene and when Jesus had gotten crucified, they were speaking Hebrew, Aramaic, but after Jesus crucified, most of them were speaking Greek. And so therefore, the New Testament was translated from the Greek because it was written in Greek. And so we know that all words don't translate. And so what happened is, when writers who began to translate the Bible in English began to do it, it was really impossible to do it word for word. So they came up with words that was close. And because they did not have the J, they put Jesus' name in there, and they put other names with J's because they just wanted you to have a reference point and it sounds similar to the name, but it wasn't necessarily the name. Because he said, one place he said, if you use his name in that nation, he was going to destroy you. Because they were in Egypt calling on his name and trying to worship the gods of Egypt. He said, if you even let it come out your mouth, I'm going to wipe you out. And so they stopped calling on the sacred name. And so we pick it up now 2,000 years later, and we still saying God and we still saying Jesus, but neither one of them is their name. Because the Tetragrammaton tells you, when God say, tell them who I am, he gave Moses his real name. Now, how did we miss that? And so now somebody said, well, his name is Yahweh. You look at them crazy because we've been programmed for 2,000 years just to say, God, I love you. Well, God is a title, but it's not his name. What if I just say, boy, I love you? That's not as personable as saying, Maurice, I love you. Right? Are y'all with me?
Yes.
So if I'm saying, boy, I like that shirt, boy, and I never say Marlon, how you think he gonna feel about it? Like, this man, I forgot my name. So how do you think God feels when we approach him and we just saying God, giving him a title, but we never call him by his personal name? His personal name is Yahweh. That's hard for me to, I know it's hard to digest. It's hard for me to digest it, but I'm growing into it because I don't want to not call his name. I want him to be more personable with me. I want to be closer to him. And for me to have that, I need to call him his name. Now, if you call him God, is he going to stop? No. Because that's what we've been taught. That's what we've been doing. He's not going to stop visiting you or hold that against you. If I say Jesus is, no, you can call him Jesus, but I'm just telling you his proper name. Is your name Kimberly or Kim? So Kimberly is your proper name. But we call you Kim short for what? So what we do is we call him God, which is a title short for his name, but his name is Yahweh. Because guess what? God is not an American. Whoops. We have made him an American. That's why they got the blue-eyed, blonde-haired Jesus. That's not God. Jesus